right, so we've hit that 101 mark. So we can go ahead and slowly kick off. Kia ora, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today, and in amongst your very, very busy schedules. It's really wonderful to see such a great turnout, and I see that turnout is increasing as I speak. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alex Cobble-Chantraine. I am Medtech's Integrations Program Manager, and with us today we have Carmel Servin, Amy Hill, and Nicole Matthews from Specialists and Referrals here to talk about the latest iteration of Specialists and Referrals available in Alex apps for those on Evolution version 6.3 or later. We also have on the call, just in case of any questions, we have Prashant Koval, who is our Senior Integrations Product Manager here at Medtech. I'm our resident non-technical person in the Medtech team, so he's a great resource to have on the call. Some of you may have also spoken to Nicole, so she's here to also help with any questions as they come through. As you do come across questions throughout the webinar, please, of course, feel free to pop those into the Q&A box down the bottom of your screen if you can see it, and the team will get through as many of those as possible before the end of the session. If your question does not get answered, we will ensure we get contact and question details sent through to the SR team following the webinar to make sure those get followed up. Also, for any of you who have colleagues or associates or anyone you know who is really interested in attending today, but for any reason couldn't fit it into their schedules, we are recording this session, so we are, of course, happy to pass that along to anyone interested. So I know that the SR team have a whole lot to show us today, so I'll stop waffling on. Take it away, Carmel and Amy.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex. So yes, I'm Carmel, this is Amy, and we're delighted to be able to present SR to you today, and thank you for taking time in your busy day for this. So we'll go straight into it. I'll just share my screen. Right, and you should now see Medtech, and we'll just flick over to our presentation to start with, just so we've got a bit of a frame of what's happening today. And so today's webinar, we're going to focus on the improvements to the SR form, so what's new in the new form, the new features that you've requested, and then into the demo of the form. We'll also introduce the managed referrals function, which is new, and talk about what's next, and then obviously all your questions. So we're very keen to get those as well and to be able to help answer those. We will keep an eye on the questions as we roll through, and if there are ones that sort of relate to where we're up to, we'll try and slot those in if they're quick, but if we don't quite get there, we'll circle back. So definitely keep them coming through. That'd be really appreciated. Okay, so just to start off with, the improvements. So I'll just briefly flag what they are, and then we'll go into the detail on the demo. So to start off with, we're looking at a faster form to load, even on large records. I know that was taking longer on the old the Manage My Health form, so that's one area we're improving. And we're also improving the reliability of the form using the new Medtech Alex integration. So it's completely new functionality and tool, and we're delighted to be able to use that thanks to Medtech. The attachments, we haven't limited the number, and that's a maximum of 10 megabytes each. However, if you choose lots and lots and lots, as can be expected, it may slow down the generation of the referral, but it doesn't actually have a fixed limit on it now. And obviously the complete process is now supported by SR, so that means that we can make changes and we can provide support right across the SR functionality, including the form, and we are doing ongoing development with that. And obviously we work closely with Medtech Alex around the integration of how we pull the information from Medtech as well. So we'll go into that in more detail. And some of the new features that have been requested by you are the copy referral, and you can now change the provider on a draft referral and also on a sent referral and resend it. So that's particularly for the case where patient changes their mind and they want a referral to someone else. You don't have to retype that referral. You can bring up the one you've sent, copy it, change the provider, and resend. You've got the ability to notify the patient of the referral that you're sending, and also to give them a copy of the referral as part of the process, and to come back and do that afterwards as well. We do now have the saving of a draft referral and previewing referrals. Talk about change with this cancel referral if you need to and you want to let the specialist know, and also special instructions, which we'll show you. And yep, so I'll pause there and hand over. And oh no, one other thing I will show you is how to find SRs. It's probably key to start with. So obviously the old one you had on your toolbar and was under Connected Care Referrals. However, the new one is under Alex Apps. So the first thing is you do need your user privileges enabled for Alex Apps. Any issues with seeing that, feel free to reach out to us, and we're liaising closely with Medtech and practice support, IT companies, to ensure that this is turned on for everyone. So that's step one. You have to be able to see Alex Apps. Step two is that we highly recommend you right-click on your existing SR icon and remove it from your quick access toolbar. And then the two icons that you now have, there's a new referral icon and a manage referrals icon of the cog. For both of those, you need to right-click and go add to quick access toolbar. And that's just to make it really easy for you to go into the new SR and have easy access to this functionality. Step one. Now I'll hand over to Amy.
Thank you so much, Carmel, and welcome everyone. It's so great to have you here today. So I'm going to start off by showing you that new referral. So we are in a patient record, and as you can see, we've got new referral, and you can also view previous referrals. So we're going to go into the new referral. Okay, and as you can see, the directory is exactly the same. Nothing's changed here. You can still search for your specialist by name, category, keywords. So I'm entering our test specialist, and I'm just going to click on the e-refer address to get through to the form. And here we are in the new form. So here's the form overview down here. And as you can see, you can just click through to take you through to any section of the form at any time. So we're on the first page, and there's one of our new functions, which is change provider. Now, the great thing about this is that any time throughout the form, you can fill it in. If you do need to change the specialist as well, you can click on change provider. Nothing will be lost, and you would be taken back into the directory, and you can choose the new specialist you need to send that form to, the referral form to. We have ACC details. Now, when you click on yes, it will bring up those ACC details, and you can click on the accident. So I'm just going to click out of that. And then we have referral classification. Now, this isn't compulsory by any means, but it does help with the triaging. So if you're going to choose your classification, it's an existing or a new. So existing, it's great because then you can just go down to the drop-down list and choose one of the existing conditions. And if it's a new classification, then you're going to type in what your suspected diagnosis is. And you'll see that that all comes up in the drop-down list. Click on that. Really easy. So then we go down to the referral reason. Now, of course, you can just type in the referral reason down here as you do, or you can go into view consultation notes. Now, our default settings at the moment are set to 6 months. So you can just click in the calendar here and click here for the year and here for the month and click on search. And that will bring up a series of your consult notes, which you can click on to include, and they will just drop into the notes as you can see there. A bit further down, we've also got consultation. So if you do want to include more consultations in your referral, you're just going to go once again into your calendar for the year and the month, do a search, and you can include any of the notes there by clicking on them, and then we're done there. So now I'm going to click on the next tab, which is medical history. So we have medical history classification. So again, it's just ticking what you think is relevant for the referral. Medications, we have long-term medications are automatically included. And then, of course, you can just include any other medications that you think are relevant for the specialist. Allergies are already included. Immunizations. Now, observations, you can either include the observations that are already saved in the patient record. To add a new observation, you can click there. Now, I will just say that we are working on the write back function, so soon these will be saving to the record, the patient record. They're just not currently, but you can pop in an observation. Sorry, I was going to click on heart rate, and we just pop it in there, and we add, and as you can see, that's included now. So then we're going to go down to reports and documents. So reports and documents, reports and RSD are all pulled from the patient record. And I will take you through again. It's the calendar to do a search to bring up any of the reports from the patient record. I'm going to click on what I want to include. And then we'll do the same down in the RSD.
So one just
Yep, you talk while I'm doing that.
Yep. So one change that is imminent here is we have had a lot of GP feedback that they'd prefer this to be one list. So we're just working on that now, and you'll see this all as one list shortly. And that will just make it a little bit easier. You won't need to be checking across the two lists. So everything will come up together. And the other key thing that I'll comment on here is we're currently not pulling scanned documents, but we will have access to that very soon. It's in the April work program for the Medtech Alex team. So we're looking forward to being able to bring up all of that scanned document and images piece into this list as well in the near future. So that's just a key.
Yeah, fantastic.
And there's also some other files here that you'll see that won't be coming through on the old form. So I know that there's some differences between the two forms in this section. And so that's probably one of the key areas that we're dealing with queries on. If you're missing something and you do want access and it's not in scanned documents or it's some particular file type or any queries, just let us know about that, because that's something we're looking at really closely. You can see there a list of the file types that are allowed. And that is a very wide range, and you do have that larger size now. So, but we're conscious that this is a key part of the functionality that needs to be right, and it's something we're paying a lot of attention to.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Carmel. Yeah. So that's fantastic. So just to repeat what Carmel's just said, that the reports in RSD will be combined into one, and then we've got your attachments. So these are external files. So to attach anything for your attachments, you're just going to go into Choose File and attach what you want to include. And you can see there it's automatically uploaded. Fantastic. And I just will repeat that it's a maximum of 10 megabytes per attachment, but there's unlimited attachments now. And yes, if you attach lots and lots, it will take a little bit longer, but it is unlimited. So then we're going to go down to Patient and Referrer. Now, the great thing about this is you can actually edit in here. So you can edit the patient information. And I will say one thing about the form is that the form does continually save as you go through. So the draft will keep saving. So you can edit your form in here by clicking on Edit. And I'll go down with the carer details. The one bit of feedback we've had for the carer details is actually from specialists, is that they do actually find having carer details really helpful, because sometimes they have quite a lot of difficulty getting hold of patients, especially ACC, that sort of thing. So that does really help. Okay, so then I am going to go down to Submit. Great. So this is a new feature. So we can actually have the patient preferred contact method and whether you want the referral sent to the patient. So if you do, you can email the patient, you pop in the patient email. So I'm just going to pop in the lovely Carmel's email in here. And you can include a link to the referral. So that will go through to the patient and it will have a little code with it so that they can open the referral on their end.
So the key thing there is it's not actually attaching the referral to the email. They have to enter the code and a birth date to get access to that referral.
Yeah.
And we've also got a function that enables you to turn off access. So we'll show you that later as well.
Yeah.
So if you have an
Just
issue
in
with
case.
that email address, you've got an ability to turn off access as well. So we thought that would be quite handy.
We've all entered the wrong email address at some time. Okay, so now we've got special instructions. So the special instructions, if you are sending a copy of the referral through to the patient, these special instructions are strictly for the specialist, so they won't be viewed by the patient. So if it's, I'm going to put so very anxious patient, doesn't like seeing doctors, that's just going to be for the specialist information only, and that won't be viewed by the patient at all. And it's quite separate as well, as I'll show you later. So then once we've filled in everything, I'm going to go submit, and then I will hand you back over.
Maybe just do the preview first.
Oh, sorry, yes, okay, we'll do a PDF preview. So you can view your referral before you send it, just to make sure everything's included. So there we've got the special instructions, which are separate from the referral. And then you'll see that there is a page that's blank, so that separates it completely from the referral body. And here is the referral, and you'll see that it all flows in one body. So all the attachments and everything are included, which makes it really easy to read. So then I'm going to close that, and we are going to go submit, and I'm going to hand you back to Carmel because there'll be some things we just want to run over again.
Yep.
While this is generating, you can continue with your work. Absolutely. You don't need to be sitting there watching this at all. You can.
We can close out of it.
Yeah, can close out.
If in the rare circumstance there is some issue with that PDF, you will get an email notification in your inbox. And you'll also see it in the managed screen. We'll flag anything that's an issue.
And we'll just say if you do forget to send the referral to your patient, and you remembered you wanted to do that, if you just click on send notification to patient, it'll bring up an option for patient email.
Yes, so you've got that option again. And also, once this goes through, it is saved to your patient outbox. Do you just want to show them that?
Yeah, I will show them the outbox.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so this is where your referrals are saved. So you're in patient record. You go into outbox. I mean, to close that first. Patient outbox. And if we go into, there we go. So you've got everything saved there. And then we want to
attachments right there.
And then you can double click on that, and that will just bring up the referral for you. Fantastic. Yep. So that's in outbox and attachments, which is just along the top there. Okay.
So we have had a few queries about that. So it's just learning a slightly different navigation to it. But again, open to feedback on how any of this is working. And obviously we'll keep working closely with Medtech to make sure it's how you wanted it, in your day-to-day workflow as well. So just to reiterate, just because this is all important stuff, when you first go in to do a new referral, if it's a patient that's already got referrals through this new service and not through the old version of SR, then you'll get this windows. And obviously our Donald Duckers are very sick.
These are very sick.
So we've got a gazillion previous referrals and new referrals. And still the option to do new referrals. And if we go into view previous referrals on this patient, this is how you'll see the drafts coming up. So this is showing you, here's a draft one down here. Here's other referrals that have been sent for poor Donald Duck. And it's also showing you the status on those referrals, acknowledged, declined. So the acknowledged decline messages that you get back from the specialists, they still go through like they did with the old SR. There's no change in that functionality at the specialist end. That's still working the same. But you now have this ability to view, and this is sort of the beginning of showing you the manage referrals part of the service now. And if you didn't want to go back into a previous or draft referral, you would just click on a new and go straight through to new referral and start afresh. Okay, so it's key information. And then I'll just click through to one of them. And just so we can look at again the form. So just recapping some other, little subtleties, that's good to know. So you can at any point save draft, but it is saving in the background. You've got the preview option there as well. Sync referral will bring through new information from the patient record if you've come back to this referral a week or so later. You can either tab through or use the next button down below. And so that's probably the main things there. So we've just tried to make that navigation easy. We are making more changes to this based on feedback. So do let us know if there's anything that needs tweaking. That's really appreciated. Right. So if we flip back to our little guide again and see what else we're covering off today. Done the new features there. So the next piece that we're quite keen to introduce you to is manage referrals. So this is where you can see all the SR referrals that have taken place either by patient, by a GP, or facility location wide. So it's a place where you can see the referral list and you can see the status like you were just seeing before. There is some search functionality there, so you can go in and look up just a particular patient or GP. There's also filters for acknowledged or declined. And what else do we have? Looking through. This manage screen is where you have the ability to enable or remove patient access to referral. So you can always still print a referral and email it if that's the way, or hand it to the patient if that's what you want to do. But we do have this email and option now as well that we're supporting in that way. Soon you'll see the account settings from here, and this is where you'll be able to set your defaults for some of the form functionality. So things like being able to default your reason for referral text and how you want your signature to sign off. That's something that we're working on at the moment. So now we'll shoot back into Medtech and do a little bit more on that manage screen. I'll just close out of there, click the manage.
Fantastic.
Amy.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Carmel. Okay, so now we're in manage our referral. So that is the little SR with the cog on it. So here we've got
Just
our
on the
status
patient at the moment. Yep.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I'm going to jump out of a patient because I actually just want to show you when we jump in. So we're not in a patient at the moment. I'm going to jump in and manage my referrals. Great. So here you can see all of your own referrals that you've sent for the clinic and all the clinic referrals. So all the facility referrals that have been sent. So if you haven't sent your own referral, you can click into facility referrals and you'll see every referral that's been sent by your facility or just your own referrals. You can search for the referral by the patient name. So that is when you're not in a patient record. I'm going to go back into patient. Oh, I could have just done it here, but I'll carry on. So back into a patient record. Okay, so in the patient record, now you can see all the referrals that have been sent for this patient. Okay, so as you can see, and we've commented, Donald's been quite sick this year. So we've got all the status and dates of the referrals down here. So if they've been declined, acknowledged, sent, if there is an error, it will also be down here.
So error would be things like the email address didn't work. When you tried to email the referral through to the patient, we'll flag that. Or if there was an issue with attachment, it'll flag and it will be obvious whether it's gone through or not, and you'll have the option to resend it so you won't lose your information.
Yeah. So we've got two little actions over here. So we've got view. So this is a declined referral. You can view the referral. And we've got this little cog here. So in this situation, the referral's been declined. So we want to send it to another specialist. So we're going to go to copy. And you will choose a new specialist and the referral will copy to a new referral. So confirm, and that is going to take you back to the referral where everything's been filled out. You choose your new specialist. And then we're back in the referral that's been filled out. You'll see that the notes are still in there. Everything you've attached will still be in there. And so we can go down to submit in this case. We're on the submit page. You can do another preview if you like, just to make sure everything's still in there. And then we can go up to submit. So that's how to copy a referral and send to a new provider. So back into manage my referrals. So that's how you copy. Now, if you've got a referral that's been sent and you want to cancel it, as we were talking about before, that wrong email address for whatever reason, you can click on cancel and that will cancel the referral. If you pop a reason in, oops, excuse my spelling. And you just confirm that. So that sends that message through to the specialist to let them know why it's been cancelled. We've got messages here, so the specialist can send a message back to you. So we've got one that's been acknowledged here from the specialist. We'll book patient in today, thank you.
And that will be appearing in your patient inbox as normal as well. So you'll still see it in your normal record for that patient. But if you were just looking at an overview of the SR referrals, you've got the messages here also. So it just means you don't have to go hunting for emails.
Absolutely. So also this is where, so we've got enable patient access to the referral, or we can remove patient access. We've got a draft copy here. So again, from the draft, you can go into edit and carry on with the draft.
Yeah, we won't send this one because we are in production and it will actually go through to North.
Yeah, we won't send it. But that's how you go back in and edit your referral. So I'll close out of there. Carmel, did you want to go through any more?
I think we're good on that at this stage. So just really to say that that manage screen is where you'll see the new functionality coming through on SR. So we are making quite a number of improvements around messaging, and we'll talk about that a little bit more too. I'll just flick back to our guide just to help us on those points. So what's coming? Yes. So part of the point of using the new referral form is so that you can access the new functionality that we're introducing. So in development right now is some streamlined provider referral forms. So the general gist of these is that they're shorter because they're only including the information that the providers specifically need, and they're telling us what they don't need. So that should make it easier at both ends. So we're delighted to be able to bring you those streamlined referral forms. We're also working on the ability for you to send options for a patient to choose the provider. So we know that quite often the patient wants to be involved in that process now, and we want to facilitate that more readily. And we're able to do that with this new functionality. So that's in development. And we mentioned before the account settings. That's a piece which will enable you to tailor how SR works to your preferences. So that will be really useful. Another area that we're working on is around appointment availability information, and we know that this is a major bugbear both for GPs and for specialists. So that information, so that you can guide your patients better around when, who's available for referrals. That's really a big question, and we want to provide more detail on that as part of the referral process, so that watch the space for information on that coming through from the specialist. So the key point there is we're actually, just as much as we're making changes to your interface, we have development happening at the specialist end, and in particular integration to specialist software, and that's going to give us the ability to give a more updated feed of availability coming through. So it might not be the actual appointment book, but it will be something that gives you an indication of availability from the specialist end. And of course, we're always introducing new types of services and providers for you to send referrals through to, and we've got some really exciting ones coming through, so we might get to that a little bit later. And then follow-up messages. That's another area where we've had lots of requests from GPs. So things like being able to, once you've done the referral, you've got some new test results, you want to send those through, or you've got a follow-up question, or coming the other way, the providers might have an update that they think is important to come back to you on. So we want to facilitate that shared care and more ongoing working together between providers. So that's in the pipeline. And of course, what else would you like to see in SR? So we really are keen to answer questions today, and also at any point, if you have ideas, to send those through to us. I mentioned the parallel development. Amy and Nicole are both fully focused on training and support for SR, so anytime. And I know there's been a few sites which are more complex, and we've had to provide additional support to for their setup, and that's, you know, we're very keen to get everyone who wants to come across onto the new service live as soon as possible. So I think we're up to questions actually. Yeah, so how about we jump across now to any of the questions? Yeah, and I guess, yeah, that's just a bit of a recap there, the main features. I'll just flick through. And thank you. Oh, one other thing to note, we're at the GPCME in Rotorua, and we're doing photos again. A few of you might remember we did that a few years ago, so great to get your professional photos in again. But so now back to question time. Where shall we start? Yes, I can see here a question about, will it automatically update when scanned documents are available? Yes, that will come through. SR will give you access to that. There's a question about, will you look at email coming through from PMS? So we are, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but we are picking up the email from the patient record. You'll have to forgive us, our dummy data is not ideal because we don't have access to the real information that you have on a real patient. So, but we, yeah, so just bear in mind that that should all be showing the information from the patient record. If you have any queries on anything like that, or you think it's missing something, do come back to us and let us know. Okay.
There's a query about opening the link. Should we send it through and show how that happens?
Which one's that?
Down the bottom.
Yep. Do you want to take that?
Okay, so yeah, I can just see there's a query about a patient not being able to open the link when the referral's been sent through. So I'm just going to give an example of, I'm going to enable patient access.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to pop the email in, and then we'll show you how a patient would open the link for their referral. Okay, so you pop the email in and send, and then I will just get...
I'll keep an eye on my email.
Yeah, and we'll just check your emails, and then we can take you through how that
actually works. Just give me half a tick. So emails you think are instant. Here we go.
There we go.
So I'll just drag this over so you can see. So this is what the email looks like. Ignore, you would have your real contact details here. This is the one that's obviously in our test environment. So you've been referred to Mickey Servan. You're referred by that be your name. So we click on, the patient clicks on download referral. It takes them to a link. And I'll drag this over so you can see what it looks like. So here we are here. And it's asking for this passcode. So this is the code that we can enable and disable access to the referral on. And it's also asking for the patient's date of birth, which is 13th of June 1974. I'll just enter that. And that should give us access. So it's actually just downloaded it. So that's the referral coming through for the patient. So there may well be queries. Perhaps it's a patient that doesn't have PDF on their browser. So if you do find any issues in that regard, please let us know, and we can look at other things we can do to make that more seamless at the patient end. But that's how it's currently working, just so you know. Rightio, so we go back to any other questions. Nicole, feel free to jump in or help us on any of these. Just trying to catch up on what they are. We've obviously been busy talking, so we're not just reading through now. So there's a few questions about the patient email, and that should come through in the patient details. If it's not, please let us know, but it's supposed to be. You do, so well, maybe we'll go back and actually show you.
Yeah.
So we'll go into edit. So down on the patient referrer section, there's this is where the contact information is for the patient. So you can enter it here, and when the referral is submitted, it writes it back onto the patient. But
as long as you press save draft actually after that,
yeah. So, but if you have already got the email address in the patient record, it should be displaying here. That's the main thing. And then if it's displaying in here, then when you go down into the submit section, it will pull through automatically if you choose to send it through to the patient here. So this is designed to pull through from whatever is on the patient record already, or updated on the edit page in the patient details. So just there's a question about transfers from GP to GP. I'm not sure exactly, Bethan, what you're referring to there too. I think it might be to do with can we access information from that process. So that's something I'd be keen to drill into a little bit more with Medtech, whether we can get access to information that's come across when a patient has shifted practice. A related query that we've had previously from a number of GPs actually, is if they see a patient for another clinic and they wanted to send information about that consult through to the GP's usual one. So it's a slightly different use case from sending a patient who's moved from one clinic to another, just sending an update really about a patient that they've seen that they don't normally see. That is something that you'll be able to do through SR shortly, because we are extending the range of providers that you can bring up in the search to include the GP practices. So you'll actually have that ability. And also, we already have a number of GP practices that provide skin cancer services or other specialty areas. There is the option now for you to profile if you want to as well, and receive referrals through. So you'll have noticed the much broader, just go to the top section, the change provider, you'll have noticed, I hope, the much broader provider list, category list that we now support. And that is being updated all the time. So keep an eye on this list. I'll just bring that in so we can see better. So this is being updated all the time, and we will be making some changes to help the navigation of these other services easier as well. So we're very aware of this is a key area of growth in the service in terms of what you can do. So we've got a question here. Will we be notified of errors, or do we need to be checking the managed referral? So yes, you will be notified of errors. So we're using the ability to send messages into Medtech's inbox, and we will be able to tell you what that error is. So you don't need to be checking for it.
Oh, great.
So any particular sites that are looking to have access and have access glitches, I can see one there for Matamata Medical Centre. We'll come back to you and do reach out to us if any other sites need support as well. We'll come back on that query that a GP has about their patient not opening the link. We'd like to get to the bottom of that. So just email, just scanning down. So there's a question in relation to information through to hospital systems and integrations. I think the best thing there is to reach out to us and have a chat so we understand in more detail what you're referring to there. But yes, we are open and are doing other integrations as well. And no, there's no additional cost to the practice to use SR referrals. So just the same as we always have. We've actually been live since 2015.
Yeah.
And there's been over 1.6 million referrals sent through SR. So we know that it's a core part of your day-to-day work. And obviously we're keen to continue developing it. So no cost. We love it when you use SR.
Yeah, we do. We love it.
What else have we got? Yes, it's an inbox that you have to go to. So so we'll just go back. We've got a query on the inbox again and out. So both on the outbox to see a referral. I'll just close here. So it's not the attachments tab as in attachments. There's a different tab. Just to because I know this is a source of some confusion. It's within the message itself, there's this little attachments tab, and it actually says here, please check the attachments tab. And I think that some people are assuming that means the attachments thing in Medtech separately. It's actually referring to attachments just here. So hopefully that clarifies. But yeah, and then you can open it from there, the PDF. Okay. So this is the sort of finer details of how Medtech works and how you're using it that we're trying to make sure we're understanding and giving the right communication on as well. So any other questions? I'm hoping we've answered some there. There is a couple of other things I can give you a heads up on, which may be of interest. We'll just flip back to our little guide. And feel free to send through more questions while we're doing this. Hang on a moment. So I had as extras questions. Yes, obviously we're on questions. So this is about the account settings page, which is very much under construction. So you'll have the ability to edit what your settings are here in the default reason for referral. We want to give you control of that. And also the default date time ranges for how the different sections display. So if you need to go back more than 6 months as a default, you'll be able to set that, and you'll be able to set it to display more results on the page if the default number that we're showing isn't enough. We'll also bring the photos back in if you want to have your photo there. Yeah. We did that a few years ago, and that was at the request of specialists, because they said, you know, when they go to a room and talk to GPs, everyone knows who they are, but they don't know who you are. So that's where that photo piece came about, because we're really keen to support that relationship between you and the other providers. So hence our photo thing. And then one other thing, down to, so another heads up. So one of the new referral forms that we're setting up is for a service called Just a Thought. Now they're a mental health service, and they're free, and the form for them is a little bit different because it doesn't go directly to Just a Thought. It actually is an invite that goes to the patient directly. And so when you do this one, it'll send an email through direct to the patient, and you can see here there'll be a standard email blurb, and you'll have the ability to select the courses. So this is CBRT courses that are appropriate for the patient. And the beautiful thing about this one is that we've got integration going both ways. So with the patient's permission, you'll be able to get updates coming back into your managed referrals section, letting you know how the patient's going on those courses. And the patient has the ability to turn that information off at any time as well. So it's not, it's done in such a way that it's, very mindful of patient wishes, but also giving you the option of extending, what's on offer to the patient. That's a little taster of what we're working on, and there's a few other really neat ones as well that are sort of our first batch. And we'll have those live in the next month, so we're super excited about that. I'll just go back again. So we had a question about our support email, and Nicole's just answering that. So our original email is srsupport@specialistreferrals.co.nz, but you might have noticed we're abbreviating things to make our life and your life easier. So we're just setting up now a simpler email address, which will be live in the next day as well, which will just be sr-referrals So support@esr-referrals.co.nz. So we're constantly on the move for what else can we improve. How are we going on the questions? Just looking. Ethan, I'm just trying to see what questions you're asking there. It might be good to do a direct one on that. We could just reading. What are the chances we could use this? There's a new idea. So one of the ideas that has just come through is, what are the chances we could use SR to send patients copy of their records securely without doing a referral? Maybe something for the future. That's a brand new idea. I haven't heard that one before. Definitely interesting. We may be able to help with that. We do really want to extend out the patient involvement in the referral process, but also obviously support your patient communications. So yeah, open to those sorts of suggestions is what I would say. And we just need to understand exactly, what you're looking for and work that through. How are we going? I'm just reading through the list. So do feel free. Nicole, do you want to jump in and just add in any pieces from your experience with the support that you've been providing? We can see there are a couple of people saying that they're needing support with access to the Alex app. So definitely.
Yes, I have emailed those ones. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can see the one from Martin Medical Centre. I will contact you about that. And there's a few there from Dr. Song. We'll also contact him about those ones. One thing that I wasn't sure about, Carmel, there's one right in the beginning saying, do we need Adobe to be installed, or can we use another PDF writer?
I think it should work with any PDF writer that is, so the PDF part is opening the referral PDF from Medtech. So as long as it's connected to Medtech, it should work, because PDF should work. The processing of the PDF when we create the referral happens at our end on our server. So it doesn't actually matter what your server settings are there, because we're managing that function at our end. So yes, but if you have any issues with PDFs, by all means reach out to us. There's always, something that needs a tweak. So we're open to, just investigating further if need be.
Now, one thing I have been asked quite a bit is people who do not have the Alex service yet wanted to know how to get it. So what I would say is you need to be on Medtech Evolution 6.3. If you are really keen after watching this, please send us an email and we will ask Alex where you are in the queue to get everybody ready for the SR integration, and we can, rush that along for you, maybe, hopefully.
So to turn it on is actually not a big job. It's just some simple settings that need updating. But and we've been working now a lot of practices on that turning on. So we're very keen, obviously, to support anyone who's ready and would like that turned on. Yeah.
Oh, and another thing I have been asked a few times is, does this replace the Medtech or Manage My Health version of the SR form?
So it will eventually. At the moment, you can still access both, but you won't see the new features on the old one. And also your referrals on the old form won't show on the Manage Referrals screen. So they don't have the other new functionality attached to them at the moment.
So it's only the new SR.
Yeah. So, and some of the new services that we're bringing live, like the Just a Thought one, that functionality will only be on the new form, because it's not using the normal process. It's actually going to the patient. There's other stuff that's happening there. So we can only support what's new on the new form. So very keen for you. I mean, I know there'll be a learning curve involved in switching over, and we're really appreciative that people are willing to give that a go. A change always, requires a little bit of effort to start with, but then you'll get the benefit of this new functionality. Anything else, Nicole?
So people can reach me. They can either email me directly, nicole@specialistreferrals.co.nz, or the SR support at specialistreferrals.co.nz.
Yes.
So either of those email addresses can come through.
Yes. And we will send out after this a pack of information, so you'll get the guide. We're just updating it actually with some new screenshots, because those that are using SR will have noticed that even today, in fact, we've made changes that went live today on that last submit screen. So we've added a new submit button at the top and also changed the order of some of those options on that screen. And that's all from feedback from GPs. So what you tell us, we can then improve. So yeah, so we're just updating that. We'll send that out, as well as the answers to some of these questions, and obviously reach out to us for more support.
Yeah, and if you do want any one-on-one demonstrations to go back over the form, always happy to help.
Yeah.
So just please get in touch.
Yes.
We welcome you
Yeah.
wanting to learn about the form.
Yeah, so we have, I mean, Amy's also been doing training with practices, so it can be to the practice if there's particular queries there as well. And we're also, you know, if there's anything that you think is a glitch or you're not sure about, that's the sort of thing we really want to know about, so that we can get to the bottom of it and make sure it's all working for you. Any other questions? Just looking down the list. Can't see anything else there at the moment. Would you like us to do one more quick run through? Perhaps we'll do. We've got a few minutes left, and I know that we've shown you a lot today. So we'll just flick back to SR and go in once more to do a new referral. And if you think of something else you want to query on, by all means let me know. So again, just reminding you, if the patient hasn't had a referral through the new SR system, you won't see this step. You'll go straight into the search, okay? But if the patient has had a new referral through the system, you'll then have this step and have the option to see their previous referrals or go straight on to new referral. So step 1. And then if I go through to new referral, and I can choose any specialist, I'm just doing shortcuts to the form. So here we're on the new form again now, and flowing down. So the ones that you've been to, actually, you might notice, go into bold. So if you haven't yet gone to a tab, it's still grayed out. You don't actually have to click through every tab. So if you're confident that your patient and referrer information is all good, you can go straight down to submit. Obviously, it's probably still wise to be just scanning down that. One of the pieces of feedback we have had from GPs is that you don't like scrolling. So we're compressing this information.
Yeah.
This is compressed version 1. We might come back and do compressed version 2, but we are trying to make it as streamlined as we can. And then the submit piece. So we've got the is urgent. Just back on this piece here again about the email. So there is the choice. There is a choice here. You can just send a notification email, and that just tells the patient that the referral's been made, but doesn't attach the PDF. So if you don't click include link to referral PDF, then all you're doing is emailing the patient and saying, yep, I've done the referral. You haven't actually given them the referral. So you do need to click include link to referral PDF. And that's something that we can put in the default settings as a default on, if that's what you always want to be doing. It really comes down to personal preference, and likewise things like the task reminder, whether you want it to default on or not, and at what number of weeks, that will be something in your account settings as well. What else? We're just looking around here. So as I mentioned before, we are definitely making more changes to this report section to bring it together in one list. This is probably the area where we're most keen to get your feedback. We know that ECGs is something that don't work in the old form, and we're working really hard to get those through in the new one. So when Medtech Alex give us access to the scan documents and images folder, that should help us get access here. But if you have a particular attachment that is in a folder in Medtech that we don't have access to at the moment, what the simplest way to get it in a referral is to save it to your desktop and then to manually attach it through choose file. So I'm aware that's an extra step and we want to minimize that for you, but that is the current workaround that you can do if there's a particular attachment that's not showing in this list that you do want to include. If you do it this way, it should come through.
It will, yeah.
Okay, but tell us what's happening and then we know what to fix. So that's probably the area that we're keen to get the most feedback on, because we know how important that particular piece is. I'm just looking for anything else. So again, default settings here, and hopefully that's all straightforward. Back on the referral reason. So in terms of the other provider streamlined referrals, this first bit is where you'll see anything that's specific for a provider come in particularly. So this is where they're going to put their particular instructions in. And generally what's happening is if there's other sections which aren't relevant for their referrals, then they're dropping them out of the referral form. So it's actually going to be a simpler form for you to do, like the just a thought one that drops out a whole lot of information that isn't necessary for those referrals. So it's that sort of simplification in particular that we want to be able to give you going forward. And then you can save time. so we know that's a key driver. Just checking if you've got any other questions. So a query there about including loading photos emailed into Medtech from patients' phones. So I'm hoping yes, Medtech are giving us access to both scanned documents and media. Prasant, do you want to jump in here because you'll be the expert on that?
Is this for the media document?
So there's a question from one of the GPs about whether they'll have access to loading photos emailed into Medtech from a patient's phone.
Okay. The media folder, like we have an API which allows, currently it's a PDF image. Like we have like Houston, like the IntelliMed application and all, they have a product like which Quick Start, I think, like which converts what do you call image into a PDF and it pushes back into the inbox. So it comes into our media folder currently, and that media folder is something that we are going to expose to the SR form soon, but we are also making some changes to our post media to support images. So along with this media folder exposure, we are also going to support post of images, not just PDFs. So those images will be PNG, JPEG, and JPEG. Those three types of images will be supported to post into our media folder. So once all these things come into picture, like you'll be able to retrieve everything from that media folder.
I'll elaborate that. Yeah, we're just actually wrapping up a big piece of work at the moment, and that piece of that kind of big images project is actually next cab off the rank. So that's one of the big problems that we're looking to address and make sure that that's available to the SR team. So this is coming. I wouldn't even say it's coming soon. I would suggest this is coming imminently. This is the highest priority for us.
Yeah, delighted to hear that, obviously, because yeah, it's one of the key things that will make a real difference is to be able to bring more attachments into SR, and it's definitely going to be a game changer in terms of that additional usage there. And I'd just like to say that we have, just so you know, everyone, we've already had thousands of referrals go through this new form. So it has been live since the end of last year. It got slightly delayed with other things, but to do with other integrations that Medtech have. So, but since then, there has been a lot of usage of the form, and there has been a lot of really helpful feedback, and that's what's leading to us to make improvements all the time. And so it's up and running now. So by all means, you go in and have a play. And you should start, once you get a little bit familiar, obviously it's a little bit different with the tabs. One of the reasons why we have split it is just to give it a bit more structure, and so that you're not playing scroll for Africa, because we thought that the previous one could get a bit long when it was pulling the full patient record, which I know it was doing a lot of the time. So we were trying to just make it a little bit easier for you to just navigate quickly around on it to a particular section that you're looking for. And obviously we can drop out those sections too that are no longer needed on the streamlined referrals.
And obviously we've made some great changes already based on your feedback. So you know, it's wonderful.
Yeah, so really appreciate that.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah. Just checking if there's any other last minute queries that have come in. There is a question about any specifics that need to be set up under Alex web form in Evolution to ensure forms are active. Now, I'm not sure if that relates to specifically to SR or not, so I'll touch base with the Alex team on that one. Do you know, Alex, or should we bring, if whoever's got that query can come back to us afterwards as well, just to make sure we can answer that exactly to what you're meaning.
Yeah. So I'm very mindful of time, and just going to reiterate that we do have that list of questions. So we will be able to follow up with anybody whose questions did get missed. They're not getting forgotten. So I just want to reiterate that there will be a follow up to this with all the good useful stuff that Carmel mentioned. They've got kind of a guide that they're updating at the moment that's going to be sent out. I also wanted to mention that in order to use SR, yes, you do have to have Evolution version 6.3 or later, but you also do have to have Medtech's interoperability platform, Alex, enabled for your system. This is part of your Medtech, so there are no extra fees or anything to have it enabled, and it's something that we can enable in the background just in conversation with your IT provider. So if you have any questions at all about whether you've got Alex activated, if you're not sure, or if you just like to get it activated just in case you haven't gotten it activated, please don't hesitate to contact us at ActivateAlex at medtechglobal.com. So we'll make sure that gets included in the follow-up email as well. So I'm very mindful, we've just gone over time, so I want to send a huge thank you to the specialists and referrals team for their presentation today, as well as a massive thank you to you all for attending, because time itself is hugely valuable. But in primary care, it's even more precious. So we really do appreciate you taking the time to attend, ask questions, provide feedback, all of it. We really do appreciate it. So thank you all, and have a fantastic rest of your week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
you.
Appreciate it.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.